Molly's, perks, lean, pour me up.
Hey guys, this is Choki Chokat. I guess before we start this iceberg, I should talk about updates since my last upload.
7 months? Damn!
I took a trip to Mexico for 3 months, and all I brought with me was an iPad, so none of my Saki work was in it. So I mostly drew other projects, but mainly the trip was a way to reconnect with family and to do some soul searching because 3 months before that I had a hand injury. Like if I tried to pick up a pencil, it would just hurt to draw after like an hour. Since then, my injury has been more stable, but it's still there. I just have to take more breaks. So I'm still continuing the Saki Sanobashi animation. Matter of fact, having this new injury is giving me more incentive to only focus on big projects like Saki Sanobashi instead of constantly doing other side stuff for likes on Twitter. And to be honest, working on this project mostly on my own, constantly toiling away frame by frame has opened me to a world of isolation and depression that I have never experienced. I can see now why most artists will only focus on small projects and never undertake something so long term. It really does expose you to the worst aspects of yourself. And the fact that I'm pushing through all of it to create something that I can be proud of is a testament to my dedication to this story and Sakiism as a whole. And I, at least, have a decent fan base of Sakiist followers supporting my project. I cannot even imagine the ones in the Saki fandom who are working on their own Saki projects and can't even get the same traction. So this is why I created this iceberg. Given my status in the fandom, I think it's only right to shed light on some of these projects and artists who have not only contributed to the Sakiist culture, but have influenced my Saki work as well. And before we begin, I do want to mention that when making this iceberg, I missed a lot of other people who I should have mentioned, so I'll be adding more here in this video. Alright, let's get right to it. Tier 1. Team Saki, Choki Chokat. Basically me and the team that I formed with the sole focus of making a legitimate recreation of Saki Sanobashi. Probably one of the most popular recreation groups with the most expansive and well-known drawings, music, and animations that have impacted the Saki community. The project is still being run today mostly by Choki Chokat with the help of a few other members who have decided to stick around the ongoing project. Many of their works have been incorporated into YouTube videos covering the Saki topic, the biggest accomplishment being that they got a brief mention by weighing in his third Saki Sanobashi video, further solidifying their status in the Saki community. The team has gone through many members and a lot of drama, something I'd want to cover on a later date with time. But overall, most people enjoy Team Saki's work, and many in this iceberg have even used them as an inspirational basis for their own interpretations. Saki Sanobashi, o lado nerd obscuro, or the dark side nerd. This guy made about 4 Saki Sanobashi related animations under the context that they were making their own recreation as well. Their early videos certainly got traction because they were uploaded at the same time of the Saki hype. They used a combination of 3D with 2D mixed in with some cheap special effects. It was well liked, but compared to other projects, this one was seen as very lazy and cheap, which couldn't be an issue if it wasn't also the fact that this guy's flagrant spam posting of their work annoyed people, and also some of the arrogant things that they said to me in the DMs in regards to wanting to join Team Saki. But that's all in the past, and Saki fan work is still Saki fan work. But to be honest, I never really liked their work that much anyways. It all felt very rushed and low effort. Saki Sanobashi Go for a Punch by Radio Animation. This one is kind of a sad one. So this is a 2D animated recreation of Saki Sanobashi, and pretty well done for a YouTube animation. Sadly, the artist who made this kept shilling his work to the Discord Saki search server just like the other guy, and people kept getting annoyed, so he got kicked. It was obviously upsetting for him, and it also upset me as well because I really wanted to support their work. It was really good. Even though I gave the guy an invite to come back to the server, he never did, and then later decided to delete their channel entirely. The animation itself is minimal, but it's definitely one of the better ones that had elements that definitely disturbed me. And I especially enjoyed the creative trip out scenes. Overall, a decent representation of the Saki lore. Tier 2. A little side note, some artists will be mentioned in this iceberg, but not all of them. Some will just be mentioned for just how impactful their work was or how much of it was created. If an artist isn't mentioned here, it's most likely because their work is nowhere to be found on posts, or they only did like 1 or 2 drawings and nothing came of it. With that being said, Hana Piana. You may not have heard of her, but her artwork you've definitely seen. Her art is still one of the most upvoted things on r Saki Sanobashi. Even more than the Saki Sanobashi OP post that led to the shitstorm of a search. And while I formed Team Saki, she was creating her own recreation group under the premise that she wanted a professional group with discipline and direction. We later combined her 2 groups and formed the Team Saki everybody now knows, with her being the first director. After 2 months though, her and our scriptwriter completely abandoned the project without saying a word. Overall though, they were partly responsible for forming a system in Team Saki and creating the GFAP application server, a server which was created to filter the people good enough to work for the team. Unfortunately, the servers are now long gone. Hubris, Choki Chokat. The song that plays as a backdrop to the Team Saki storyboard trailer. It was first composed by me just to experiment, and another member mentioned how it sounded like a song for a dope trailer. So in the span of 3 days, I drew a quick storyboard to accompany the song, which you all know is the Team Saki trailer. I never planned to release it, but I showed it to another member named Starman, and the video got leaked, so I had to release the full thing on my YouTube channel. People liked the song so much that I later finished the song and put it out under the title Hubris. Necronomidol, Santa Sangre. A music video created by a Japanese girl group, which many pointed out had a very eerily similar premise to Saki. The girls being trapped in the bathroom, the gore, the headbanging in the sink. It had way too many correlations to Saki Sanobashi to be a coincidence. So why is this in the Saki Sanobashi project's iceberg? Well, one member actually asked the group about the influence of the music video, and in an email response they said, and I quote, "The Santa Sangre video is completely an homage to Saki Sanobashi urban legend. It was inspired by the search for the anime as opposed to the original anime itself." End quotes. It also paid homage to a certain artist from the 80s who created horror adult manga by the name of Sino Knife. The Saki Sanobashi comic by Philippe Thousand. This is a comic of Saki Sanobashi created by Philippe Thousand in collaboration with others in the Saki server, including Karen Yu, Roser, and Harupai. Another well-liked project back when it first came out. The artwork is definitely up there with how disturbing and off the wall it is, going for the grotesque more than anything, with hints of inspiration from Junji Ito. I remember seeing some pages down and others colored along with the front cover, but since then haven't seen updates or know if they are still continuing the project. Saki Sanobashi Go for a Punch 54-part series by Media Isekai, formerly known as Media Adaptation. Many might say that this doesn't count for this iceberg because this series is targeted more towards the research aspect of Saki than any recreation. But you have to commend Media Adaptation for their work ethic. They, more than any other YouTuber covering the topic of Saki Sanobashi, went in depth with the clues, drama, lost media, and coverage of fan works. Not only did Media Adaptation cover the goings-ons of the search, but they also went over different anime similar to Saki Sanobashi in detail, for anyone who wants media similar to Saki. And they were the few YouTubers to also showcase the recreation project updates and share art from so many in the Saki fandom, many who I couldn't even cover in this iceberg. And it's sad too because later on YouTube would strike down their YouTube channel and purge it along with all the other Saki videos. But Ryuna, being a real trooper, re-uploaded all the videos on the new channel. Unfortunately, they just don't have the same views like before. So I recommend everyone to please watch the 54-part series. Not only does he recommend you obscure and underground anime with all the gore and the horror, but they also cover a lot of what happened in the Saki fandom and share a lot of Saki artwork. They were a huge help for creating this iceberg. Please give them a watch. Tier 3. Saki Sanobashi Miwa Kaneko. A short 19-second animation of Saki Sanobashi. Cute, kawaii looking Saki characters mostly crying. Very minimal with mostly mouth movements. This animation isn't ambitious or anything, it's more of a fan work, just flying under the radar of Saki animation projects. Abysmal Paradise Okamimi Nadeshiko. Now this is a project I've been dying to discuss. Abysmal Paradise is a Saki fan game horror RPG by Nadeshiko. Okamimi is the YouTube channel where you can find updates of the game. Out of all the projects, this is the one I'm probably most excited about because the horror elements are there and this feels so similar to Corpse Party, and I mean, just look at this. Like, good God, the sound design, the atmosphere, it's all just perfect. And for something like an RPG, this is amazing. And the creator is still working on the game even now, gifting us with new demo stuff every couple of months, which I have to respect because they're rarely talked about with the recreation topics. Just looking at the views and engagement on posts, I'm mad that they don't get more traction because this stuff looks incredible and definitely deserves more engagement. I mean, it's an interactive Saki Sanobashi experience. What more can you ask for? But every time I bring up Nadeshiko's work, people always seem to forget about this project. I'm really hoping with this video I bring more light to it, although I'm unsure if Nadeshiko actually wants the attention because they don't show their work like others have for their projects. They usually just post updates and then dip, and when I'm trying to talk to them, they usually just don't reply back. Who knows? But regardless, I really believe this project deserves way more recognition than it should, so be sure to check it out. Apollonia. Another artist whose work you've definitely seen before. Very, very talented artist who deserves a lot of praise. Also a former member of Team Saki. Her designs for some of Team Saki's characters definitely set the standard for the anime style we would eventually go for. She eventually fell out of the project because things kept coming in her life and she just no longer was able to continue. Regardless, she still left an impact in the community. Bashix. Another artist whose work you've definitely seen. They were part of the earliest version of Team Saki but left for their own reasons. Their grotesque works set the standard for many in terms of brutality and gore. These days, you can probably find them in the comments of posts in r/Saki Sanobashi. Saki Sanobashi TikTok. This is mostly in reference to works that were posted exclusively on TikTok relating to Saki. I don't really use TikTok, so I don't know, go search for yourself. Tier 4. Saki Sanobashi by DJ Ghouls. An experimental track that definitely feels like it could fit in a cheesy but disturbing anime. Gives me like old school Devilman vibes. Probably the closest musical representation of what Saki Sanobashi could be. U/Soured Apple. Again, you probably don't know them, but you've definitely seen their work. This is the most upvoted post on r/Saki Sanobashi Tsu server. Pretty well made, great use of color. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. U/Mario 2 Brown? Saki recreation. Another artist who's making a 2D animation. The work itself looks really good with well-composed shots and great composition. Although what I mostly see is minimal movement, so who knows how well it'll be. They said they'll be making an animation of about 2 minutes, so there's plenty of time to make more complex animation, and it'll probably come out looking really good. Only time will tell if they'll finish it, but overall a cool animation. The anime style is much more modern looking. Saki Sanobashi, Frost and Octane. A chill lo-fi hip-hop song to scratch and headbang to. That's it. It's just a lo-fi song with the name Saki Sanobashi. No Dreams for the Future, Litkiss. Saki Sanobashi in Megalovania style. It's exactly how you imagine it. That's pretty much it. Tier 5. Saki Sanobashi Game Boy demo. Phoenix Mix Gaming. A Saki game based on the Game Boy, but looks like it has the red graphics of the Virtual Boy. This was an idea proposed by Phoenix, also known as Anime on Discord, for weeks upon weeks discussing their own idea of Saki as a game, but they began to annoy people like me and Juan Elizabeth, so we just kept telling them that if they want this to happen, they have to do it themselves. And they did. I'm very proud of my boy. Anyways, it's a cute little demo of a Saki game. Maybe not as ambitious as Abysmal Paradise, but it still has heart. I haven't heard much about it since the update, so I think Phoenix is having trouble finding people to help him or something. I'm not sure. Saki Sanobashi, Go for a Punch by Red Cube Studios. The latest and newest project to hit the community, this is a 4-minute short film created by Fabrizio GR under Red Cube Studios. So far, probably one of the most well-made and detailed projects in terms of animated Saki works. Super impressive with its animation and detail in the art. Very professionally done. And it's been making waves in both Saki servers. But despite its amazing presentation, me as well as many others who have given criticism say that it just barely hits the mark. The character designs are off-putting, there's not really much of a story. Plus, in my opinion, a lot of the gore and death scenes just have no impact from a lack of a story and just overall the randomness that it just kind of shows up, you know? It's almost like they just crossed off a checklist of what the Saki story has and just slapped it on without trying to put it together with a reason. Similar to how random like the Team Saki storyboard trailer was with their scenes. And most of all, I wasn't really disturbed. It's a fantastic art house piece for sure, but it's just mostly presentation, you know? Sure, I understand how hard it is to create a story in 4 minutes, but I have seen it done before. Hopefully they'll make more Saki content in the future to flesh out the lore. Saki Sanobashi Numbered Ending, Litkiss. Another work by Litkiss. This was a short animated gag where instead of the girls meeting their untimely fate, they get saved by a thing? I forgot what this was a reference to, but still an overall funny little animation. Asada 1956. This was an artist who created Saki Sanobashi art in that old school grainy TV look. I mostly saw them post on their Twitter and Instagram and sometimes post their work on Reddit, or somebody else would repost their work for them. Their artwork is somewhat convincing and many people liked their style, but since then, like others, they just deleted their presence on the internet, so you can only find their works in a few places if you're lucky. And now to mention a couple who were not added on the list. Jasper May, former Team Saki member who made a ton of their own Saki fan art. Also would have been a voice actress for one of the characters. Has a very cutesy blocky style. Saki but no Sanobashi, aka Powder.exe, aka Witch EXE, aka Slaughter EXE. Another Team Saki member who's made plenty of art for Saki Sanobashi. They are still one of the few members who still engages in the Saki search talk as well as still a member in Team Saki. They were also one of 3 who helped in the construction of Team Saki's script along with aesthetically. Very talented artist. Sister to Sleep. The first scriptwriter of Team Saki, their script set a foundation for the scripts in the future as I incorporated a lot of their dialogue and such into my own scripts. So, credit where it's due. Left along with the director Hana Piana during the early Team Saki. And that's gonna be it for part 1. For part 2, I will do the rest. I didn't want to split this in parts, but the thing with me is I don't like working on huge videos if it's not animation or something. Besides, there's more research to do on the next topics, and I want to upload something on my channel already while I prep some other shit, so hopefully part 2 coming soon. See ya.